Day everybody, it is Calxiyn here, and if you guys enjoyed this video, you should subscribe for more My Hero Academia reaction and discussion videos. Today we are going to be doing my reaction highlights and my discussion for episode 4, so I hope that you guys will enjoy that. If you guys want to see my full-length timer and subtitle reaction, it's the you press play when I press play type of deal, and you can see my full-length reaction. That is up on Patreon or for YouTube membership members, and I now have a YouTube membership member link, so you guys can support that way. But regardless of all of that stuff, super excited for this episode. We're gonna see a fight. I mean, last episode we saw a fight, but now we are going to continue the fight, is basically what I am getting at. And so yeah, I'm really excited, and why don't we just get into it? Let's go. Oh, see, he's hitting him. How big does the shock gotta be, though? Because that's not working. Oh, Kaminari, no! No, but that'll break him out, won't it? Unless the shock is enough to just get rid of him in the game. Oh, Kaminari, that may have not been that smart, though. Ah! Nice! Take him to jail, let's go! Oh my god. Oh, he's playing with his little thing because he's nervous. Oh. Oh. This is nice. Oh. Oh, yes, it's so nice. Oh, that was so nice. That's so nice. I love it. Ah. Oh. Uh-oh. Ah! Oh, man, they're gonna get fucking zapped. Oh, boy, let's go. Uh-oh. She's gonna suffocate him first. Oh, it's over there. Oh, ah, damn it, they saw it. Oh, yeah, so what does he do? Oh, okay, cool. Oh, it wasn't his voice. Uh-oh. There we go. Yeah. Oh, my God. Oh! Damn! Oh, he won't even listen! Communication's falling apart! Oh, man. Ooh! Yeah! Nice! So that now he has a weapon! Ooh, that's not good! Uh-oh. Oh! Good job, buddy! You did good! Oh! Oh my god! Oh, this is so nice. I hope that Shinso gets put into Class A. That'd be so nice. Right? Oh my god. All right, everybody, let us get into the discussion now. Now, this episode isn't going to be like too discussion heavy. I do want to talk about the Shinso stuff just because I think that like his thought process and everything, like his whole thing is super interesting, but otherwise there were a lot of cute like character moments and everything, but it's not like we're like unpacking all the psychological threads of the Todoroki family. Like it's not going to be like the last couple discussions that we've done. And so the first thing that happens is that they explain to us what I was confused about last episode, episode, which was how exactly like the whole brainwashing thing works. And maybe we knew about this before and I just forgot, but basically he explains like he has to go like, sup bro, and then the person has to answer him like, yeah, what? You know what I mean? And so before it was really easy to like instigate that for the brainwashing because people didn't know that that's how his quirk worked. And so he could just like, you know, sort of rile someone up in battle and be like, I'm gonna mop this floor with you. And then somebody would be like, nah, bro. And then by then they'd already be brainwashed, right? Because they responded. When nobody knows how it works, it probably was a lot easier. But now that everyone knows how it works, he had to get a lot more creative. But there are other things that they explain about the quirk that I think is really like interesting in this scene. And so they go over like, hey, it's probably not possible to brainwash multiple people at once because my focus would be split. And I do wonder what would happen if Shinso got on, it's the performance enhancing like quirk drugs, right? Like that's a thing. Was that a thing? Is this show? Anyway, you guys will tell me. That is My Hero Academia, right? Has that, right? Where the quirk grows stronger. So it'd be interesting like what he would be able to do if he had like access to that, like his quirk was heightened in that way. That would kind of be interesting. And then he explains the rules. I can't make the person I brainwash talk, and also orders that require them to think won't work. And so that's very important. So he explains it like this. So I can show someone the words, like, Atsui's name, right? And like, they'll like write it down, but I can't like ask them, like, what's that girl's name? And then they'll like respond. And so you could write down Calxiyn, but you couldn't be like, who's your favorite YouTuber? And then for you to write down Calxiyn while you're brainwashed, you wouldn't be able to think, obviously, I'm your favorite YouTuber, guys, clearly. Anyway, so I know it's normal for heroes, but it's hard when details about your quirk get out. Yeah, exactly, right? And so they could just completely ignore you, and that is where the voice changer comes in. So I thought that this was like super smart, and they explain it in a kind of complicated way. He basically is like, if I use a megaphone or something, like it won't work, and so instead of like changing my voice in that way, it has to change before it goes out. Like it's a sort of weird way that he explains it, but basically like if he does it over like a microphone or like some sort of technology to amplify, apparently that doesn't work. But this is actually like, I don't know, changing, it's not actually changing his voice, it's changing how like the sound waves move his voice, and then that gets outputted. I know that that sounds confusing, but that's how I sort of interpreted it, that nothing about his voice is changing like if you were using a microphone. Instead, the only thing that's changing is you can see him sort of like move it smaller and wider, and I'm assuming that that has something to do with like sound waves and how sound travels or something. It's basically like kind of anime bullshit, but I think that also has like some grounding in reality. So I'm not going to talk about everything. I'm just sort of skipping around to what I found was interesting. And I think that this is the scene where Kirishima is trying to break the bird guy. I can't remember his name. The guy who calls the animals. Like he's not like a bird guy. He's like the Snow White guy, you know, like that calls the animals. He's trying to break him out of the air bubble. And then Kirishima's like, it's harder than I thought. And so that's evidence that Class B is really growing with their quirks. And that's something that comes up later as you have Kaminari like hitting the side of the air thing with like a pipe, right? And so I just thought that that was like a nice little moment and an indication that like, hey, Class B, did I say Class A before? Anyway, you guys know what I mean. Class B is like really putting in the work to get their quirks to be stronger. Another interesting thing I want to talk about is this. And so they're ready to punch him. They're ready to punch him, but I guess what happens is that he can shift from beast to person. And so what happened is he was going at them like in beast form, and where their punches landed would have been where his chest would have been if he was still like in beast form, right? Like they still would have like punched him if he was in beast form. But basically what happened is I think he turned into a human, and then he like ran like sideways to be like more agile as well. Ran sideways, like jumped sideways between them, right? But that wouldn't be possible if he was in beast form, I don't think, because he would have been too big to fit between them, so they still would have like hit him with the attack. And so the only reason why this is possible, I think they explain, is basically because he can maneuver, like, you know what I mean? Like if he was a beast, it would have hit here, and even if he was a beast, he wouldn't be able to just like, move through them. He was only able to move through them because he basically went back into like human to be like, obviously like less hulking, I guess, less muscular. He basically de-hulkified, right? He went into human mode, right? And so it would go back to normal, right? Like he went back to normal and then he got big again. And so that was like a really cool scene. I thought that that was really nice. And then he's like, the only one who can stand up to my strength is Kirishima. And so he just yeeted Kirishima out of the atmosphere. I feel like the humor in this episode was really on point. Again, even though it's not like, oh, like spicy theorizing time. Like I feel like it was just a really like wholesome, like nice characterization type episode, you know, like getting us to bond with Class B and Class A, even though like obviously we've been with Class A the whole time, but just like more that bonding to the characters, you know? Yeah, so see, this is the scene I was talking about. This is stronger than it was at the sports festival, and they're trying to break him out. He's just in sad little prison, I think, but yeah. And so, wait, maybe Kirishima wasn't trying to get Bird Guy out. Maybe he was trying to get Shinso out. I don't remember. Anyway, either way. So yeah, so like they're hitting it with pipes because Kirishima's obviously like gone. I wonder though, like I guess the toxic mucus wouldn't break this though, because it's not like acidic, like it wouldn't like make a hole, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's not like, I don't know what does that though. There's a chemical or something that I'm thinking of that like does that, like it would burn like through things, I guess. I don't know, like because it's just that acidic or just that like dangerous, I guess. But yeah, I don't know if her mucus would have done the job, but I'm sort of wondering. But yeah, so I wonder though, why aren't they hitting the same spot? You think that that would be more effective than hitting the sides? You know, like if they both hit the same, anyway, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, this is what I was sort of saying before, is that it's nice that there are multiple indications from Kirishima and then from them, right? Like it's proof that they worked hard on training their quirks, right? It's stronger than it was at the sports festival. So I thought that that was a really nice thing to add. I really liked that about this episode, like showcasing like, hey, Class B ain't no bitch, okay? B does not stand for bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so yeah, that's sort of what I'm thinking in that regard. Again, I feel like that this was a nice comedic moment, just seeing the personality of the teacher a little bit more. Like he's like, will my students' furious attacks beat out Class A? Like obviously the biased commentator, and I really like that against biased commentary. I thought that that was like really, I thought that that was a nice joke. And I also miss Microphone Guy though. That's what this scene made me realize. But yeah, I really liked this as like a comedic moment, and I liked all the times that they panned back to Class A that were just sitting there watching. Like Bakugo has a really like you know, interesting moment where he's like, no it's not, like he like has this like on his face, like he has like a moment. And then obviously Manita and Deku has a lot of moments as well, like observing the battle. And I feel like Aizawa is like really his like big fan, you know, like he's like one of his, he's trying to cheer him on, you know. I think he's like almost like Shinso's his little prodigy, and I think that that's really nice, right? And so your inexperience is undeniable after all. And so I think that this is after the binding cloth, and basically Deku explains that he reacted after seeing the enemy instead of being ready before. Like his reaction time is a little bit off, and so I thought that that was something like good to note as well, is that like he's not like super OP, but he's not a burden either. And I thought that that was a really good point that the show was making. Like, yeah, he has some stuff to work on, but he's also not trash, you know? And so I thought that that was really nice. And I love how Deku, he seems to be like cheering him on more than anything, and that's just like such like Deku, and I thought that that was nice. I thought that this scene was really cute just because I feel like he's doing this this twiddling thing like with the side of his mask just because he's nervous. Like I don't think, or like almost ashamed. I said this the other day, but like Shinso did this thing the other day, a week ago by the time you guys know what I mean, last episode. Anyway, the other day, Shinso had this move in his backstory where he had his hand at the back of his neck, like a sort of like ashamed or like awkward like movement, like a closed off, like vulnerable thing, like we protect our necks when we feel vulnerable or we feel embarrassed, like that type of thing. And I mentioned that last week, and so this time it seems like instead of touching his neck, he has a different like comforting thing, and that's like fiddling with the sides of his mask, because as he's apologizing, I think it's a mixture of embarrassment, like that he has to apologize, and also just, you know, like, oh man, why wasn't I good enough, like a self-esteem thing, and he's moving it back and forth. And I thought that that was a nice little detail, especially because he seems to have a lot of those like nervous movements or gestures, and so I thought that that was just, I don't know, it was a nice little touch. But I also like, you know, like we're the ones who should be apologizing, you ended up having to fight head on, right? And so it's like there's almost blame on both sides, right? Like I feel like that, I don't know, it's hard to explain. I don't think that he wants to be seen as a burden, of course. Like he had a very tough guy speech speech to the class, but do we also think that maybe that was a little bit of a front to mask his insecurity? So it's funny how like he was like, you know, he had this speech to everyone at the beginning, but now he's a little bit more humbled. I think that that's what happened. I think that maybe he got humbled a little bit, and now he's like, you know, I guess exposing more of his true feelings than the speech that he gave at the start. And so I thought that this was a really nice scene. It was my fault that the plan wasn't good enough, even though getting hurt's normal in these real combat training. Yeah, so he hurt himself. He had to be rescued. And so it's, you know, kind of like blame all around, right? It's no one in particular's fault. So I thought that that was interesting, just like the duality of that. Like, not that Shinso was being like, I'm hot shit, but he had a very like tough persona at the beginning. At least that's how I perceived him. And now he's like, it's my fault, I'm to blame, right? Like, he's very hard on himself, like in the same sort of breath. And I like this. I even told him, good work without thinking. I know you said you weren't planning on being friendly, but I like you. Like, this was just so nice and so cute. And this is what I mean. Like, this episode didn't have, you know, big theory moments or anything, or like, it's not like Attack on Titan where we're like dissecting like the, you know, the morality of this or that. Like, it's not that serious, but I think that these character moments are just really, really nice and endearing as well. And see, look at this. You're totally a future hero. And he's like, whatever, Baka, I didn't like you anyway. Like, he's sort of like, I feel like he's such like that sort of character. It's a tsundere, right? Like, I feel like that's how he is a little bit. And so I thought that that was like so cute. I thought that this was really clever, like using the mucus to cover up the smell. Like, I thought that that was a nice touch. I like to see the corks being used in these sort of ways. Like, I think that it's just like really cool, like how they sort of show off like the versatility, right, in these episodes. And then they basically talk about that, like, did they come up with a plan to basically deal with the sense of smell a new account? And then you have Kaminari, look at your pointer. And I thought that this was like really, really cute, this scene with, oh god, Hitsume, right? And so I thought that this was like adorable, like that they sort of had this thing for her, My Baby Academia, right? Because she made this. And so I love to see the support class, like, they're getting like more attention as well. And so she basically explains that Kaminari has these glasses and you can check the location if the pointer gets stuck on someone, and then later they talk about how he can basically put his electricity to that point. And so I thought that that was like really, really cool, and I love seeing how the support gear is coming into play with helping everyone's quirks like flourish. I think that that's just so nice. This was just something that I wanted to note really quickly, and they're talking about like, oh, I'm not apocalyptic beast, because that's what his teammate with the paper calls him, I think. And so this comes back later when he's like, Apoco Beast, like, look out, right? And he's like, no, I'm not listening. Like, I'm not listening to you. You can't trick me. And then he's like, Apoco Beast, uh-oh. Then he realizes that it was his real partner all along. And so that shows two things. Like, one, code names or like code words could really help in a situation like this, because you could use your knowledge of each other against someone like Shinso. And I hope that maybe Deku's team will pick up on that, especially because Deku is paying so close of attention. It's like, hey, if I don't call you like this or that, it's not me. Like, if I don't use this word in a sentence, it's not me. Like, that would be very clever if Deku could pick up on that. But yeah, so I thought that that was like pretty cool to see like that sort of thing come into play as well. Like, that's how you could get around like Shinso's brainwashing, and then also just how the communication falls apart because none of the team members are answering each other. And so even with, you know, the knowledge that he can brainwash you by responding, like, even if you know what I mean, like, even if you know that doesn't mean that you're safe in that regard, right? So I think that that was like a nice little thing as well, because like Kaminari said something like, oh, well, you know, now that everyone knows, like, they could just ignore you, but ignoring him comes at its own price, which is like teamwork communication. And so she pulls out Kaminari, which is obviously on purpose, and I just really like this little vine wave. It reminds me a lot of the stuff that Todoroki does, like when he kind of wants to do like a shield type of thing, and then obviously Kaminari is stuck inside of the ball. And so this is where the little pointer thing started happening, but this guy actually observed it before. Like, he was like, hey, like, Apoco Beast, there's something something stuck on you, but they trailed off because the plant girl caught Kaminari. And so now when he was trying to act, he was doing some fucky stuff with his electricity in the pointer, he just shot it off. And I really like his whole dragon scale thing. It seems like he can use his scales almost as ammunition. It seems like he could almost his arm, if that makes sense. I don't know how else to explain it, but yeah, I really liked his whole Quirk. I thought that was really cool to see, and his fight with Atsui was really, really good. So see, he's saying, I won't fall for that, and I think that's in response to his teammate, and so he's completely been ignoring him, and so that comes back into play later. But right now we have this sort of the pipe pull, which I thought was really cool. Villains aren't so weak that they'd be defeated by something like that. I wonder if that's foreshadowing. And so yeah, then we get the behind you, and then I told you I won't fall for that. So it happens twice, right? And so then we get the behind you Apoco Beast, and that is how you know that it was actually his teammate and not just, this is a beautiful screenshot, by the way, and not just Shinso, right? And so I thought that scene was really good, but I feel that this villain thing is actually going to be something really important and could be foreshadowing no shot in the future where Shinso is in this position and somebody else is towering over him. And so see, he's like, I won't be brainwashed anymore, and he's like, uh-oh, right? He realizes that it could have only been his teammate who is getting basically hurled at him, right? And then they won! And so I thought that was really, really good. The fight was really nice. I like all the character interactions between the Class B characters, and that team. I think that Vine Girl's personality is kind of weird, the religious thing, I don't know, it's just kind of weird. But yeah, otherwise, I think that everything was just so clean this episode. It was just really nice. It was just really nice to watch and see Deku's thinking. So I hope that this helps him in the later fight. Kaminari's quick thinking let him shine, right? And so it's teamwork, and I like this. Deku's amazing, right? Because Deku's supportive. And I really like this scene as well for his relationship with Kaminari and her. You thought that you were behind, but you're not actually behind at all. You're really strong. I thought that this was so nice, and this made me wonder, I wonder what class he's gonna be in. Is he gonna be in Class B, or will he be put in Class A? Because right now, I'm sort of thinking that he may be put in Class B for some reason, right? So he can continue to have that sort of rivalry with Deku, but Bakugo kind of has one, and he's still in his class. So I don't know, I really want Shinso to be in Class A. That's basically what I'm saying, guys. And so I see he touches, I think, again, the side of his mask. He may just be taking it off, but I think that it's still that nervous energy. He's I can't even look at her. I'm not nearly strong enough yet. I can't let others carry me. I need to be strong enough to become a pro hero on my own. But see, I feel that mindset is sort of falling out of favor, because I think that, I understand, you have people like All Might who seem to be able to do everything by themselves, but the other heroes seem to work together. You have Hawks working with Endeavor, right? I get it, All Might, seem to just do everything by himself and work by himself and whatever, but it seems some of the other pro heroes work together, and something that we have to keep in mind is the villains work together, right? And so I feel that this mindset is probably falling out of favor in terms of the pro hero thing. I get it, he wants to be strong enough so he achieves being a pro hero on his own, but at the same time, think about the pro heroes that we've seen. Does any pro hero really work alone? I feel that the whole point is that they work together, and I feel that that's going to be something important that maybe changes going forward, with some of the heroes and stuff in the show, and maybe that's something that Deku's class will really put forward. But yeah, that's just sort of something that I've been thinking about, is that I get what he means. He can't let other people carry him to the top, right? To be to pass class. But in terms of an actual fight, you do rely on your teammates. At least I think so. It's a give and take. Yeah, give and take. It's a back and forth. It's a give and take. I really like this because it seems Aizawa is relieved, and I'm not sure if that's just because yeah, my boy won, but I also feel it's probably because Shinso showed that he can hold his own, right? And so he's relieved. In the very first fight, he, they were able to prove that he belongs here so far. So I feel that it was just a sigh of relief on all points. And then we get the preview, and so we have Momo and the other model girl. I think they were both in the modeling thing together, right? And they were doing a bunch of other stuff together. Like they were with, I think, the hero that was doing a bunch of the TV stuff, and then they were doing like the model thing for the school festival, right? And so yeah, this is gonna be Class B's time to shine, maybe? I think that they'll do some sort of rotation. Like Class A won this one, Class B will win this one. Like not necessarily like back and forth to that extent, but I think that it could be possible that Class B, like I think that they want to make it tight. Like I think that they want to make it even for the Deku versus Class B, like you know what I mean, for the final fight. So I think that they'll go back and forth for a little while until they're actually tied. But yeah, this should be a fun one. I see like Mushroom Girl, and then there's the manga guy. Can't wait to see what he does. We do have like kind of an indication that first of all, Takayami is doing some cool like stuff with his shadow, and apparently he has a power never before seen in Japan. That's what they say. And then this guy seems to be able to like kind of have a quirk like Mirio did, kind of, but I wonder if it's like just things that are like cast in shadow, maybe? It seems like that maybe like it's a shadow-based quirk, and I say that just because of the little shadow lines, and also the fact that the pipe like has the shadow underneath it, obviously, and so yeah, maybe it's like Mirio, but like just shadow-based, and that would kind of make a nice foil to, you know, Takayami basically being like shadow element versus shadow element, model girl versus other model girl. That's the vibe that I'm sort of getting. Did we not see? Oh, okay, so yeah, I think that this is gonna be really cool. So he was with Hawks. When did this happen? I don't know. You know what I mean? So I think that this is gonna be really cool, and considering that he's with Hawks, I'm really like curious about the new power, and the fact that he rips his arm off is rips his arm off. He doesn't rip his arm off. He rips his tunic off of his, like, covering his arms. He stops covering his arms. God, what is wrong with me today? This school sickness is getting to me. I promise, guys, next week it's gonna be better. But yeah, and so I think that maybe, considering that Hawks has like feathers and stuff, he could be like growing feathers out of his arms. That's what I sort of think. But yeah, guys, I think that's everything from me. I did notice that my screenshots got out of order at some point, so I did miss like 5 or 6, but it was basically the stuff that I had already talked about anyway. So I feel like we did a pretty good job. But yeah, it was pretty much like solid character interactions, nice fight, and yeah, that's basically pretty much it. And sometimes that's all a show needs to be, is like a little good time, bringing some nice like cheerful energy to your week, and that's it. It doesn't all need to be like serious discussion time all the time, right? And so yeah, that's basically all from me, guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys later. Bye!